There were two guys. They were at church. They were praying. Steve and Mike. Steve walked up to the preacher and said, "Hey, preach, do you mind if I smoke while I pray?" And the preacher said, "Of course I mind. That's horrible. That's totally disrespectful and rude. Do not do that." So he goes back and he tells Mike what happened. Mike says, "Well, I'm not really surprised at the answer there. I mean, you asked the question wrong." So he said, "Let me try." He walks up to the preacher and he says, "Hey, preacher, while I'm smoking, do you think that God would mind if I pray?" And the preacher said, "Why, of course not, son. God wants you to pray without ceasing. Pray whenever you can." So the message is, the answer you get depends on the question that you ask. In other words, how it relates to us in this meeting right now, the results you get relate to how you communicate. Who here has taken one of those assessments where they determine your communication style? Most of us. There's 100 of them. Some of them assign you a color. Some of those tests assign you a series of letters. Well, and there's a bunch more than that, but I was at a conference a few years ago, and the guy speaking assigned birds for each communication style, and I thought it was really interesting, and so I want to share it with you. So first, if you're a direct communicator, if you're just no nonsense, straight to the point, you're going to be an eagle. If you're friendly and loving and caring, you're a dove. If you need fun, if you like to make things fun, you're a parrot. And finally, if you're into details, then you're an owl. So all this is great, right? If you're one-on-one with somebody, if you know who you're communicating with, like it's great to know what your spouse might be, which one of these characters, or your kids. Or if you're at work and you're called into the office to talk with your boss, it's great to know that your boss is an eagle. He wants you to be direct and straight to the point. So you can go in there, tell him what you need to tell him, and get out. That's great. But I happened to be talking to a coworker the other day, and I said, "I'm doing a talk on communication," and he said, "Wow, I wish that my professor could be there because he is the worst communicator in the world. He really needs to hear this." He said, he talks and talks and talks. There's no room for questions. There's no room to think about what he said. He just continues to talk. And as we were talking, I started to feel kind of bad for the guy. Not only the friend at work, but the teacher. Because what happens if you're in a situation where you've got to communicate a message to people that communicate with different styles? How do you reach them all? What if you're a preacher and you've got a big congregation? What if you're a corporate trainer and you've got a classroom full of people? Or what if you're leading a meeting, you're talking to people just like we are today around a conference room table? What do you do then? So I spent some time thinking about it. And the reason I introduced these birds as communication styles is because I want to move forward using these birds. So to make it really easy, I came up with a little catchphrase for each style that you can use when you're creating a speech. So, for instance, the key is you need to give everyone a little bit of something. You need to give everyone a little bit of what they need. For instance, eagles, give the eagles the vision. Well, what do I mean by that? They just need the bullet points. So on your slides, just bullet points. Get rid of the fine print. Get rid of the little details. Go with the big bullet points. And since the eagles need the vision, it's like in this speech. The results you get depend on how you communicate, right? That's the message. They can clock out and go home. The eagles can already. When you move on, you give the doves the love. What do I mean by that? The doves, they need the message. They need your endearing stories. They need your personal anecdotes to relate to get your message. To engage the parrots, give the parrots the party. They need it to be fun. They need a joke. Just like my little story with Steve and Mike and smoking in church while you're praying. They need some sort of entertainment in your speech. Finally, give the owls the rest. And what do I mean by that? The owls need details. So you're giving them a handout at the end. Or you're going to tell the owls about the article that you just posted on your website. Or the book that you wrote and it's available at Amazon. At the very least, give them your contact information at the end of the slides so they can reach out to you if they need more details. So to recap, give the eagles the vision. Give the doves the love. Give the parrots the party. And give the owls the rest. Because it's important. The results you get relate to how you communicate. It's been a pleasure talking with you today.